from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Beat the Champ with Janelle Sabin and Hall of Fame bowler Sue Novoitsky. My name is Paul Peck. Well, we know the lanes here at Classic Lanes have been blessed based on what we saw, the amazing run last week of Jeremy Zimmerman and his 12 consecutive victories. So the bowlers that are part of the Classic Lanes Challenge today, they should have everything ready.
Well, I wonder which one he anointed as the next one as he left. But, you know, this is just to show everyone that bowling at your house and your proprietor appreciates you, and come out and bowl and be a part of an atmosphere, be a part of league bowling.
Yeah, so these are going to be some of the top bowlers from here at Classic Lanes in a bit of a bowl-off for a championship. I already know the crowd is fired up and ready for this one. Are you ready?
I guess I have to be.
Yes, you do.
They can hoot, they can holler, they can do whatever they want. It's awesome.
I'm pretty sure you're going to get that and maybe a few other things you aren't expecting. So we should have a fun day today, a special edition of Beat the Champ. So let's get rolling. Ready to go with match number one. It is Brittany Right and James Tomczyk, and they have qualified here as the final top four bowlers as part of this Classic Lanes Challenge. So Brittany Right will get things started off here and to provide the expert commentary. Partly because you're an expert commentator and partly because you're the proprietor here, we welcome in Brian Borowski.
Well, I've gotten to expert now. Wow, I don't know if I can...
No, you have qualified for expert. And a strike on the first frame for Brittany Right.
Well, are the bowlers ever as prepared for how much these lanes are going to hook when they get on them?
Probably not. But this tournament that we had was the end of season league bowler tournament where people are eligible to come out, participate, and we've taken the top four qualifiers. And we did guarantee one female. That's why Brittany's on here, but she did bowl extremely well. In qualifying, we actually had a tie between her and Peggy Kuhn, and we actually had a roll-off to see who would be here on TV. We did it on a 100% handicap basis, so that's why James is going to get 7 bonus pins in this match.
And there's James Tomczyk with the spare in the first frame.
Now, did James make the show last year for
Yes,
this?
he did, actually.
I thought he looked familiar.
Good memory.
That's very impressive, Sue. Well done.
Could be the roller skate tattoo, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that's what you were noticing. Noticing the legs.
James
Just guys looked at legs.
28 years old from North Tonawanda is James Tomczyk. And obviously a regular bowler here at Classic Lanes.
So what league does James bowl in?
He bowls in our Smith-Majerus League. It's a four-man, four-person league on Monday nights.
Not able to get the single pin spare there for James in the second frame. And now Brittany Right steps up from Lockport, a student, 22 years old is Brittany. She's been bowling for about 13 of those years. And again, a regular here in one of the lanes, the doubles league here at Classic Lanes, correct, Brian?
Yes, her and her fiance Dave, which we saw at last week's show. So they bowl in our Monday night doubles league. So Brittany's hoping to get a little more respect back to the family, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's no lack of respect for Dave Majewski to have lost to Jeremy Zimmerman on his amazing run last week.
No, he did very well. Just, you know, sometimes the pressure just gets the best of you at times, and you know, he'll learn from that, and I'm sure you'll probably see him again on another Beat the Champ.
Here's Brittany looking to grab the spare, and she gets it.
Brittany is from Lockport, though, so Jeremy may have
there you go.
Have passed
right.
along
There seems to be something.
Passed along his blessing as he left.
That's right. There seems to be something going on with the Lockport bowlers, and you couldn't have said that any better. We're pretty convinced that Jeremy had some blessings from above for the way he bowled. So if he shook hands with Brittany on the way out the door, she's in good shape. And don't forget, that streak for Jeremy Zimmerman of 12 in a row still alive, and he will put it on the line at the Rapids Bowling Center on next week's show.
Yeah, it definitely seems that the left lane is hooking quite a bit more.
It's had a lot of games bowled on it, and we had all right-handers today, so there was nobody on the left side to break it up. It was just all right-hander, right-hander, right-hander.
That's a great point. And then our 4 qualifiers for the tournament, they're all right-handed too.
That's somewhat unusual in itself because we've seen a pretty healthy dose of lefties on the show. To not have any of them over the last month is kind of amazing.
You almost said it, but you didn't say it.
What?
You almost made Matt's dreams, his nightmares come true.
You know, of course, Zazowski's going to take that and spin that around about something that I don't like about it. So, and that's not true.
We gave you the opening to bring up Tony Dolan, but you didn't do it.
I did not.
Yeah.
See? Because Matt is my favorite Beat the Champ bowler. I just want to state that for the record. My favorite Beat the Champ bowler is the guy who is providing us with the most entertainment. And right now, all our favorites is Jeremy Zimmerman.
That's right. 2 great shots there by James.
There's Janelle Sabin manning the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Fourth frame now for Brittany Right.
There you go.
Right.
Great shot.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
James employed full-time as a member of the North Tonawanda DPW. And again, gets his bowling in whenever he can. Career high of 299. A regular here at Classic Lanes. And making his second Beat the Champ show appearance, as your memory ably remembered.
I shouldn't, but I can't help but wonder what those roller skates signify.
Well, maybe you should ask him later.
Is he part of the roller derby or something?
I don't know. Great question to ask.
Nice spare. All right, well, we'll put that on our list of things to ask. But guess what? It achieved its purpose, which is you were memorable, being memorable. You remembered them because of it.
So I guess you're a leg man then, huh?
Leg woman.
I wasn't going to go there, Brian, but apparently you are.
Someone had to.
Good form by
There we go.
Brittany Right, and the results come with it.
Now, see if she can figure out lane 31. That's been her nemesis.
Brian, tell us a little bit about, we're kind of already deep into the bowling season here as we have hit mid-October. How are things going so far? And give us an idea of what you've sort of got going on here at Classic Lanes.
Well, things are going great. Of course, we're always starting to form new leagues, and our new emoji league, where you can get your own emoji ball. Also included that you can, still from last year with our Walking Dead ball. That was a great shot. Your Walking Dead ball, you can get an NFL ball.
And that's referencing the TV show, not what might look like here late in the evening after a busy day of bowling, right?
Exactly. Well, I don't know. Some of the people, but yeah, so you get the choice of your bowling ball, and they're short season leagues, just 15 weeks, $15 a week, and at the end of the season, you get your own bowling ball.
Well, we hope that you have seen some of our previous shows here where we had the poop emoji very prominently displayed right in front of Sue here, right? We got this one going. We got the Who Loves You Baby one, but we did have the poop emoji there just in case we ran out of anything to explain why things were happening. So
What have we done to you?
I don't know.
You used to be such a nice guy.
I know, not anymore. I'm hanging around the bowlers too long.
Oh.
Right, so anytime something happened that either of us couldn't explain, we just pointed to the blank happens ball, right? But that's kind of the fun of what you can do here is have a little fun with a different kind of ball. And you know, I keep fearing the day that when my face shows up on one of these balls when I come to tape the show one day.
Well, we can make that happen.
As long as it's not on the poop emoji ball.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
We can definitely make that happen, Paul.
That's what I'm scared about, Brian, is that I know you can make that happen. Only if you use a picture of Sue and I together on a bowling ball.
That can be arranged.
Good spare pickup by James in the 8th frame. All right, we'll try to get this one back on the rails here, here at Classic Lanes. It's our Classic Lanes Challenge. First two challengers, James Tomczyk and Brittany Right. And then our next match will feature Ken Michaels and Pat Madigan. And the winners of those two matches will bowl for the Classic Lanes Challenge Championship. Oh, lots of wobble, and it won't go down.
Same thing on that lane. James got the break, was able to trip out the 4, and unfortunately Brittany did not get the break.
Makeable, but gotta
difficult.
hit it just right.
So what's the challenge on a shot like this?
Just
Sue?
hit the very outside of the 4-pin and slide it in, but it will go. Lighter than that.
She hit it a little too hard, pushed it back. You wanted to slide it. You wanted to
Right, you just want
to
to
the
nick
side.
it going away.
So it inevitably will
side of the
slide
pin.
to the side, right? So Brittany slides over to lane 31 for the 9th frame. One career 300 game for Brittany Right. A high 747 series for her. And if you haven't already noticed and heard, she's got a heck of a cheering section on hand here at Classic Lanes. Looking to pull the spare here in the 9th frame. Nicely done. I want to say that's probably harder than it looked.
Yeah, you can easily chop that spare. But, you know, it's unfortunate that they just don't know what they're coming to bowl on, and then, you know, you have to deal with what bowling balls you brought. So if you're prepared for it to be a more hooking condition, you know, you may bring different equipment with you. And, you know, James has a lot of ball speed, so that helps
Yeah, you can
him
definitely overcome, you know, a little drying of the lanes. But if you're bowling in league, this is definitely not your league condition,
Right.
especially with all the bowling that we've had all day long. So it makes it a little more of a disadvantage for them to come into
and
it.
Brittany bowls in one of the premier classic leagues here, so she's getting, you know, a freshly oiled pattern, which is what she's used to when she comes here. So this is quite different.
Correct.
And I'm sure manageable just with the right equipment.
So 10th frame now for James as he'll look to finish things out here, and this is a pretty good position right now to win this one is James.
A spare will shut Brittany out.
And a strike will
strike.
do it as well
And so will
too.
strike.
Yes.
So James Tomczyk will come up with the win here in match number 1 of our Classic Lanes Challenge. It's a victory over Brittany Right for James. We'll come back and get you ready for match number 2, and we'll talk to Brittany when we return. This is Beat the Champ Special Edition here at Classic Lanes. 196 to 178 final score of this first match. James Tomczyk with the win over Brittany Right. Take me through your appearance here. How did it go? How'd you feel? How was the bowling?
I felt all right, you know, just needing to stay consistent.
Right.
That's really the thing.
Been a lot of bowling on these lanes.
Oh, yes.
Was that a little bit tough for you?
Definitely. Yeah,
Right.
we're definitely dry.
All right. Well, take it up with the big guy here.
Well, I can only do so much. I didn't bowl on the lane, so I can't help you out there. But congratulations, finished tied for third in our Classic Lanes League tournament. Here's a little money for you.
All right, good job, Brittany. We've got our second match of our Classic Lanes Challenge coming up. You're watching a special edition of Beat the Champ right here from Classic Lanes in Kenmore. Match number 2 is a couple of longtime friends and bowling teammates, Ken Michaels and Pat Madigan, and the winner will advance on to take on James Tomczyk in our Classic Lanes Challenge Championship. So Ken Michaels gets things started here, 52 years old, from the town of Tonawanda.
Ken actually throws it really good. What does Ken average?
Ken has a 215 average
Very good.
and bowls regularly here in Brian's leagues on Wednesday and on Saturday here at Classic Lanes. And a good spare pickup to get things started here for Ken Michaels. So tell us, well, hold your thought there, Brian, because now we're going to get our first look at Pat Madigan. And we've had Pat on this show before in the very same Classic Lanes Challenge a year ago. 60 years old, from Tonawanda, retired from National Grid. Keeps himself busy now as a school crossing guard and Beat the Champ's #1 fan.
Yeah.
I think he plans his week around wherever we're taping on a given week. Everything else gets planned after that. And we love Pat for that. He's great.
Yeah, he's the Where's Waldo of Beat the Champ.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
You can spot him at every single show.
Where's
have to look
Pat? Where's
for him. He
Pat?
moves
There
around.
he is.
That's great. And we love Pat. He's fantastic. And we love the fact that he just loves this show and is excited to cheer anybody and everybody on. And this has got to feel a little odd for him. He's on the other side of the camera here for a change.
And his famous tie-dye that he's known for.
Well, he pointed out to us that last year when he was on the show, he had the blue and the red one. Apparently, he doesn't feel quite as good about the Bills' upcoming season or the season that they're already in now. So he's got a little more faith in the Sabres, so he's going with the blue and the gold tie-dye this time.
Well, this week should be the start of the Sabre season, so anything can happen.
Pat has been a Sabres season ticket holder since 1971, all but the very first season of the team, and that is amazing. And you better get him a Craig Muni autograph picture at some point just for being an outstanding Sabres fan. I think you can pull that off, right?
You can only
got a
imagine
good
how many
connection
times
there?
I'm asked for that.
You got a good connection there?
It's on eBay, isn't it?
Craig
Yeah,
have a
it
big
is.
stack of those pictures that of him like crushing some guy into the board somewhere.
From every team he's played for, to find out which team he wants.
Right. Or scoring a goal, like those are a little rarer, so if he has pictures of those, even better.
Hey, guess who he scored his first goal against?
I don't. You're gonna probably tell me like a classic NHL goalie, right?
Patrick Waugh.
There you go. That's a good one. So, Brian, apparently Ken and Pat are buddies and bowl together, so that's a little added dynamic in this one, isn't it?
Correct, and not just the husbands, but the wives bowl together too, and they bowl in our Saturday mixed doubles league, and the ladies bowl in our Thursday night league, so it's a whole family affair.
So whoever wins this match is going to have some serious bragging rights. Is that what you're telling me?
Definitely.
They'll probably be buying the next dinner.
And a nice
getting
strike
the
for
next
Ken.
And Pat's wife, Barb, makes those shirts for him. I remember she made last year's as well.
Yes,
So
she
those
does.
are,
I thought you were the guru of bowling shirts here in Western New York.
wow. I might have to incorporate her because I don't dye them, but I can embroider them.
It's pretty cool. The tie-dyes are pretty cool, though.
There you go.
Nice strike
good
for
job.
Pat Madigan. Nice little fist pump there as well, too.
And again, in this handicap format, Pat, based upon their average differences, will be getting 16 more pins than Ken will.
How did that go over with Ken, you think?
I don't think Ken cares. He's just here for the beer. He's just here to
He's
have
just
fun.
here for the beer.
Here for the beer, yeah.
I got it. Should that not be the motto of this show? You know, I'm
No,
just
Mel,
here
what's
for the
on
beer. And let's hope it's the Genesee beer, thanks to our new sponsorship here on Beat the Champ.
Between Genesee and Genesee Cream Ale.
That's right. I'm just here for the beer.
I heard a new saying today in bowling for our feisty bowlers. Make a spare, save a chair.
That's good. That's good. We haven't had any furniture-related damage yet on Beat the Champ.
That
have
you know
we?
of.
That we know
Maybe
of,
during
yes.
qualifying we don't see it.
Why do I think there might be a room somewhere in the back here at Classic Lanes that has a few busted chairs in there that have fallen victim to a tempestuous bowler at some point?
No, I just throw them out.
No, you just throw them out? Okay.
I'm not going to keep them. Why?
I don't know, just a memento or something. I don't know, to remind whoever did that not to not do it again.
No, because they no longer bowl here.
Oh, I got it. I see how that works.
Take your broken chair and go. Consider it your only trophy this year.
Leave a check at the door.
Ken has 6 career 300 games, a couple of 800 series with a high of 809 in his career, and a couple of league championships as well through his long 47-year bowling career.
He's got a nice, smooth, fundamentally solid game.
Yes, he does.
I don't think that in any way being tall or having long limbs is necessarily an advantage in bowling, but it seems to look nice. Like when people are tall, it like accentuates the fluidity of the approach.
Right, especially their arm swing, how long their arms are, how they're able to reach out and the target.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Can it be a disadvantage in bowling? Is it put any more pressure on the back in order to get the ball lower? I mean, is there an advantage for someone shorter to be a better bowler or not at all?
I don't think so. Again, as we've talked in previous telecasts, is consistency, is hitting your target, hitting your mark, knowing when to move, knowing about the lane conditions. That is a bigger advantage than if you're tall or short or of any stature. It's more about consistency and hitting your target.
Right.
Who's the bowler that we've had on the show in the last couple of months? He's about 6'6" tall. Is that Josh Nowak? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe he's the ball driller for
Some of our guys. I know that's what he does.
for
So.
Dougie Heim.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
I do notice though that now that it's back to bowling and it's early, one of the things that I noticed is the weakest from the summertime would be my legs. Like, your legs are very, very important, and being able to slide and stay down with the shot is important. So I think that keeping your leg muscles up would be the most to improve your game. Keep you consistent, but it still plays to that part of consistency, because if you don't fall off your feet, you're more able to repeat shots.
Correct.
Are there, and I assume the answer to this is yes, but specific workout programs for people that bowl in order to accentuate the parts and muscles that you're going to need to be successful?
Oh, definitely. The Bowling Proprietors Association of America at our home office in Arlington, Texas, actually has a training center where Team USA bowls, and they actually have dedicated coaches there where you can actually go out there for a week. They will, fine-tune your game. Great shot. There are actually training centers. Kegel in Florida also has a training center where they will actually work on your physical and also mental attributes of your game.
Even when I bowled for college, our college coach, Roy Summer, used to have us lean up against the wall and squat. Hold yourself up just by your legs. So shimmy down the wall. We used to have to hold ourselves like that. So even back then, there was awareness of keeping your legs strong.
We didn't know about that at UB.
Cutting edge stuff going on at Buff State. So Pat started his bowling career at a place that no longer exists, Suburban Lanes on Niagara Falls Boulevard, right next to the Boulevard Mall, which is now where the Sears exists. And as Pat told us, he would, and maybe he still hasn't, ever gone into the Sears because that was hallowed ground where Suburban Lanes was. So he wasn't going anywhere near the place that replaced his favorite bowling center.
I think that was one of the only bowling centers that was actually closed at the height of its popularity. I mean, it was a very busy, full bowling center when it closed.
That was probably the start of it, where the property and the, because they leased it from the Boulevard Mall. I mean, that's the start when the land is more valuable than the actual business itself. I mean, where I grew up at Sheridan Lanes, I mean, the same thing actually happened. Now it's a parking lot. Unfortunately, that's how things are. The property is just so valuable.
And we've seen that affect a number of bowling centers around Western New York, haven't we?
It's not just around Western New York, it's throughout the United States. It's a constant thing where, someone offers you so much money, you're foolish not to take it sometimes.
Yeah, and generally, I would think that bowling centers were put up in areas that were popular or became popular around them because of the bowling center being there. And then, like you said, now a mall is next to it, and the mall can get more money for the property to expand the mall than they can for the bowling center.
Correct.
Well, there's a lot of square footage in here. These lanes take up a lot of square footage, then the back with the machines.
I mean, this building alone is 36,000 square feet.
That's a big building.
And you don't really notice it, but if you take everything out of here, you're like in awe at how big it is.
So we're heading down the stretch here as Ken is on a nice little run. That ended a run of 3 consecutive strikes for Ken Michaels. And it's still a pretty tight match at the moment.
It is. It is still. It's still anybody's game.
So the ultimate bragging rights on the line here between friends and teammates, Pat Madigan and Ken Michaels, with the winner advancing onto our championship match against James Tomczyk. But whoever, Pat or Ken, doesn't come out on top of this one will not hear the end of it for a while.
Wow, what a great
nice strike for Ken.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the other bowlers struggle on lane 31, but because of his bowling ball, because of his style, he's able to get the ball down the lane before it reacts, and it's not overreacting like some of the others that we've seen earlier in the shows.
So Pat's got to try to keep the heat on here as he hits the 9th frame. Don't forget, qualifying is already set, and our lineup is already set for next week's show over the next month at the Rapids Bowling Center, as Jeremy Zimmerman will return to action next week again, and try to keep his streak alive. And then after that, we move up to Grand Island for Malwitz's Island Lanes, and details about qualifying available on the Facebook page. Actually, you've got some of those details, don't you?
Right. Mike Mallett said that the qualifying will begin around October 21st, and he'll have multiple dates, multiple times, running all the way through to November 3rd, which will also be the finals date, and the taping is going to be November 4th.
So the qualifying for Island Lanes will begin essentially next weekend. So, so if you want to be a part of that show, it's time for you to get yourself going and get on up there. And a nice strike from Pat Madigan.
So we're basically just going up and down the 190.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Well, we'll be at Rapids. Matter of fact, the way things went with Jeremy Zimmerman, he started his streak at Rapids, continued it here at Classic, and then he'll go back to Rapids to try to keep the streak alive, because he won his last 3 matches at Rapids before we moved on here to Classic. So just a quirk in the schedule that we're in the same place 2 of the 3 months. But yeah, between you know,
I wonder if you paid that $1 too.
yeah, well, I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, we're moving up and down here between Kenmore and between Niagara Falls and Grand Island, and we were in Lockport before that. So we're spending a lot of time here in northern Erie and Niagara counties. And then I'm sure later in the year we'll make the drive out to Batavia and Jamestown, right at the time of the year when you don't want to.
Actually, Batavia will be after Island. And those states, I believe, are in beginning of November.
Great. And we had a lot of fun out there at Mancuso's lanes in Batavia last year.
And they'll do it.
Yep, that was enough count.
So Ken Michaels is going to come up with a win here. He defeats his buddy Pat Madigan, and it will be Ken advancing on to our championship match here on the Classic Lanes Challenge. So we will get you ready for that. Ken Michaels versus James Tomczyk when we return to Classic Lanes in Kenmore right after this. 203 to 187, a narrow defeat for Pat Madigan at the hands of Ken Michaels, and from what I understand, you're not going to hear the end of that anytime soon.
Not real soon. Ken's a great bowler. I needed some good shots, which I didn't make enough of, and I needed a lot of luck, which I didn't get a lot of that either. So, but Ken's a great bowler.
Yeah, well, as we have seen, particularly here at Classic Lanes, a little luck goes a long way in this sport, doesn't it?
It does help.
All right, so we know we're going to see you next week and probably every week after that. It's our fun new game of Where's Pat in the crowd at Beat the Champ. And thank you for being one of our biggest supporters.
Not a problem. I enjoy the show.
All right, so there's your challenge at home. You got to find Pat in the crowd next week at Rapids. Maybe he'll be holding up the nice check Brian's going to give you.
Oh, yeah. Great. Thanks for bowling with us. And here's a little money for you. And definitely see you in bowling.
Pretty sure that's going right back in his pocket eventually anyway.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure. All right, we got our championship match of the Classic Lanes Challenge. It's coming up right now on Beat the Champ. Championship match to determine who will be the king of Classic Lanes. So you thought you were the king of Classic Lanes. No.
No, I never thought.
The winner of this match is the king of Classic Lanes.
And a sizable trophy.
What? And a nice size trophy as well too. So this is the finals of our Classic Lanes Challenge. Ken Michaels versus James Tomczyk. James getting 18 pins on the handicap, so Ken's going to have to be on point. And that's a decent way to start it. So I was giving you a compliment there, Brian Borowski. You know,
I don't need compliments.
You know,
it's all right.
You are the
good.
king here. You are, you know, you are the ultimate ruler here of Classic Lanes. And a spare to get things started.
Subjects.
And we are his subjects.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. That is true. So now James Tomczyk gets his first crack at things. And James came up with the 197-178 win over Brittany Right to advance to our championship. And Ken beat his buddy Pat Madigan 203 to 187. So that sets up where we're at here with our Classic Lanes Championship, part of this special edition of Beat the Champ. And we will get back to our regular competitive bowling next week when we move the show up to Niagara Falls and back to one of our favorite places, Rapids Bowling Center, which is where we got this whole thing started. Remember back in December of 2015?
Wow.
Yeah. That was January of 2016's very first show. So we taped right before Christmas, right?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Well. Yes.
When I don't think any of us really know what we were getting into. Not that we really know that yet even now, but we certainly know we have a lot more fun with it. So.
Oh, we know a lot more now, and when we first started this, we didn't know how far it would go, and going through our second season, and looking for a third season, it's been an incredible ride just to get bowling back on TV. Anytime you can get bowling on TV, people talking about it is good for bowling itself. When you can have 2 hours during a week of bowling on TV, especially local TV, it's a great thing.
And I think because there's such a wonderful tradition of bowling on TV in this city that everybody remembers it when the show popped up back on the air. People that haven't watched the show since it's been off the air for 20 plus years and maybe haven't picked up a bowling ball in those 20 times find themselves watching the show. I hear it from people all the time who say they just love the show because they remember what fond memories it brings back to them as a kid.
Exactly, and we're creating new memories, and that's the whole point of bringing this show back. Fortunately, we have bowling proprietors that are willing to put up money to get this show on the air, to hold qualifiers, and to our goal is just to keep the sport alive, and anyone can bowl, and that's why we bring these fourth unique shows in. A couple months ago when you guys were actually bowling. And,
the true definition of anyone can bowl.
Anyone can bowl, yes, even with a dragon wrap and a golf club.
I was disappointed in my attempt with the putter up there at Alley Brant Lanes, especially after I got a strike in practice. That when I gutter balled it with the putter, I was very disappointed.
I was disappointed on that too. It was a.
I know.
You do know you're not supposed to use a putter.
I do know that, yes. But only after you told me I could do it when we had the match clinched was I able to get out there and goof around a little bit. So.
Yeah, I had to.
Do you understand how she wanted to win so badly that you couldn't do anything funny unless
I do. It was made
you had the game in hand?
It was made very clear to me, don't mess around until we have the match won.
So I not only had to be a bowler, I had to be a coach and a motivator as well.
Yes, of which you're
good at both. Oh no, it's all about you, Sue.
No, she's very good at both.
You had to win.
That was actually a lot of fun. I had a ball with it, and maybe you'll get me out there bowling a little bit more. Now I know I got a good coach.
Well, Brian, remember the time here that it came up that I didn't see the Big Lebowski or Kingpin and that whole thing. It's like I have always had a problem with making fun of bowling, and I know it's all in good fun, and I know that it's entertainment, but that it felt to me like as the bowler I should have taken it seriously and tried to win, and I can't help it. Every time I put a ball in my hand, no matter what's going on, I have to try to win.
No, I mean
that's part of
you. That's part of who you are. But again, there are so many different sides to bowling. There's that real competitive one, and then there's Kyle, Mr. Man Bun, just
and I think that was the point of the show really, was to show the different aspects of it, and that you can all do it together, and it's not like the old days where there was an A league, a B league, and a C league. Remember that?
Oh yes.
And Paul probably doesn't even know that, but back in like our parents' day, they kept you in leagues based on your ability. So a C league was for the the not so good bowlers, and A league was for the class league bowlers. And now everybody's sort of mixed together.
And
who decides if you moved up from C to B to A at any point?
Your average.
Okay, strictly your average. Okay.
Correct. And then, they had specific limits of your team average. Like if you're 900, you can only be at this level, or whatever. And then, one of the best leagues that I ever bowled in the 80s was started off like the Black Velvet League and changed names here, where you actually drafted on a team.
Yeah,
there are 12 bowling centers, with captains and everything, and you are actually physically drafted. One night they just decided who wanted to be on their team, and they selected anywhere from 7 to 10 people to bowl on that team, and
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
It was extremely competitive, and there were times I can remember that we needed a spare real bad, and there was a right-hander that left a 10-pin, and we pulled him out of the match and put a left-hander in to make the spare.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
Even in the midst of a match, you could sub guys like a substitute in any other sport, right?
Exactly.
Well, it's funny, Brian, because I feel like we're in a world now with the explosion of the fantasy sports that people are thinking drafting more than they ever have before. Is it something that you might ever think about bringing back again? I mean, the draft becomes the event in a lot of ways, right?
Myself, I'm always open to do new things. It's just trying to get proprietors together to do that, and it was so fortunate that we were able to get 12 proprietors to agree on doing this show, especially when you're putting a financial investment that we're doing. That was incredible in itself. You know
what would make for a very interesting special edition of Beat the Champ? If we broadcast an actual draft of the top bowlers in Western New York to create a league like that. How about that for planting a seed with you?
That would be great.
I mean, let's be honest. People love watching drafts. Your fantasy football draft is the event of the year for people. The drafts in various sports get better ratings than the games themselves do sometimes. So keep that in mind. It might be a lot of fun.
Well, I think
plus getting about 20 or 25 of the best bowlers in Western New York together in the same place could cause either fist fights or one heck of a party.
And don't have it at my center.
Well, I think that if someone was open to finding a sponsor for the travel league, that Western New York would love to have that format back and that travel league back. I mean, from the day that it ended, I think that the people that bowled in it missed it. It was the elite league in this area, and young people wanted to get in it, and it was a staple. And if that ever came back, I mean, got to the point where I think when it started, it was free lineage, and they went into houses and didn't have to pay, and it's no longer like that. You can't, the way things are nowadays, you have to pay lineage like everything else. So, it's got so many obstacles over the years.
Right.
Well, this is fun kind of spitballing some ideas here. I hope we got the wheels turning for a few people, but in the meantime, we're watching Ken Michaels do a really nice job here, knock some strikes down, and he's building a pretty good lead over James Tomczyk on his way to taking that big, nice trophy that's sitting right in front of Brian Borowski.
But you could have a Beat the Champ team tournament with Baker and take the two biggest winners, which at this point would be Zimmerman and Bianco, and let them draft their team. And that could be a fourth show down the road.
Great show.
Well, and again, as we've talked about, there's a great group of bowlers that that have sort of emerged as some of the lead guys here on Beat the Champ. And you mentioned Bianco and Zimmerman and Zarcone and Molina and Matt Zazowski and Tony Dolan, all the guys who have had the most wins on our show. So yeah, it's a great idea. It'd be a lot of fun. Soon we want to mention a really special event coming up next weekend for bowlers in Western New York, the second annual Snake Vote Memorial Bowling for Beats No Tap Tournament that's going to be held out at the 11th Frame Lanes in East Aurora.
Right, it's going to be next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, October 14th and 15th. It's a handicap tournament, so you don't have to worry about your average, and the squads are going to be at 10, 12, and 2. And you can contact 11th Frame Lanes in East Aurora for more information.
Yeah, and it all benefits a charity based around one of our bowlers that we had on the show a couple of weeks ago, and that's Josh Vogt. His daughter, suffering from congenital heart disease, has had 3 open heart surgeries, and it's a fundraiser for a number of charities, including Mended Little Hearts of Western New York, that help those kids out. So a great cause, a great event. Can't encourage you enough to get out there and be a part of the second annual Snake Vote Memorial at 11th Frame Lanes in East Aurora, and you can call them and get all the details you need to know. So, all part of the bowling community here in Western New York, reaching out and helping everyone. So Ken Michaels on his way to a win. He has clinched a victory here. He's going to get the big trophy from Brian Borowski. We'll come back to have Brian give it to him when we return on this special edition of Beat the Champ. Well, Ken Michaels is the winner of our Classic Lanes Challenge as he defeats James Tomczyk to win the trophy that he's going to get in a moment. Take me through this, James. How'd it feel? How'd you do? How did it go for you?
Felt great. I struggled the whole day. I think I got lucky beating Brittany Right in the first round. And here I struggled with a 127.
All right, well, and Ken was bowling pretty well, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
All right, the most important question here of all that Sue was asking early on in the match, what's the significance of the tattoo that we see on the back of your leg?
My tattoo is actually for my mother who passed away in 1991.
Well, that's a great tribute to you, and it makes you memorable, and so does your bowling as well, too. Sue?
Hey, Ken. You're smooth out there. Looks like another day at the office.
Oh, yeah.
Do you bowl on TV a lot?
No, first time.
Oh, you'd never know it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ken, congratulations on the second annual league tournament. Raise it up. There you go.
There you go. Ken Michaels is our big winner. Sue and I will come back to wrap up our month-long stay at Classic Lanes and get you ready for next weekend's action at the Rapids Bowling Center. That's when Beat the Champ returns right after this. Well, I'm kind of sad that we have to leave Classic Lanes here in Kenmore because as we look back on this month-long stay, the word that comes to mind, Sue, is memorable.
Honest to God, I was starstruck almost watching Jeremy bowl. And he gets to go back to where he started it all at Rapids and see if he can carry it on.
Yeah, so Jeremy Zimmerman, the amazing achievement of completely sweeping our month-long stay at Classic. And again, we're going to see him next week up at the Rapids Bowling Center. The crowds were great. And again, they got into the history that they witnessed, Janelle.
Yeah, I mean, we always, with our regular competition, it's more serious, but this exhibition match shows how much fun bowling is, and that's what it is. This is family fun, and everyone should come out and do it.
Yeah, so on all fronts and every week, this was a month that we will never forget here on Beat the Champ, but we're looking to make some new memories, and it'll start next week at the Rapids Bowling Center. We will see you then. Thanks for watching Beat the Champ.